Hello guys. Ian Altosaar Freedom Astrology once again here and doing another video. I know I've been doing a bunch of videos straight, but it feels good and I'm excited. And let's continue onwards with tonight's topic, which is an interesting one, which is an intriguing one. And we're going to talk about a bit of a pattern. The pattern is passive-aggressive behavior in relationships and manipulation as well. So you can see the undertone of the topic of the theme, or the theme of the video, is quite dense, it's quite deep. But it's something I've been observing a lot, and obviously kind of lived through myself as well in my life and in my relationships. So one of the reasons I wanted to really bring this up right now is the chart you can see on my left here. And this is obviously, we're almost in September 2021, but if you're watching this video on let's say later time, most of the information in this video will still apply. But I just want to kind of confirm that right now, immediately in September 2021, we're entering into a quite of interesting time energetically from a planetary point of view, where this kind of manipulation, passive-aggressive, non-direct behavior in relationships can really rear its head. So yes, it will be very prevalent in September 2021, but there will be other times as well. And if you have maybe some of these configurations in your birth chart, in your natal chart, it will be with you, or at least to some extent, depending on how you deal with it in your life and how you heal it and how you transform it, it will be in your life to some extent. Now, let's talk a little bit of the astrological significators, and then let's go into the more of the pattern itself and what to do and how to kind of navigate this pattern itself. Now, we're talking about mostly Mars in Libra and Venus in Scorpio, which both planets are in mutual reception. If you don't know what that means, there's a bunch of stuff online. I'm not going to talk about it too much. And they're both in, we use these fancy terms in astrology, fall and detriment. But basically what this in more earthly, practical terms means they're kind of weakened. So the planets Mars and Venus aren't in their best moods, let's put it that way. Maybe they're not entirely themselves. let's put it that way. Whenever a planet is not dignified that well, we can, I like to usually tell that the planet is not themselves. And Mars doesn't really like to be in Libra, Venus doesn't really like to be in Scorpio. So we're going to talk about that and what that means in a second. Or maybe I'll just jump in with this part and then I will share the other configuration. Okay, I'll share this one first. So whenever Mars goes into Libra, because Mars is action and Mars is our direct way of doing things, very clear action and clear cut things. Libra is balancing. It's kind of seeing both perspectives and kind of weighing, the scales, weighing those options. As you can see, if you put those two together, and also Libra is relationships as well. So if you put those two things together, you get kind of this kind of passive-aggressive already behavior of like, I don't know what I mean. Maybe I want things in indirect ways. I'm not sure even what I want. So maybe passive aggressive is a little bit over the top dramatic immediately just from Mars in Libra, but there is a tendency of people not knowing what they want directly, and even going for their desires in an indirect way. Now, the opposite side of this coin is we have the Venus in Scorpio, and Venus in Scorpio is a lot of intensity in relationships. It's a lot of feeling in relationships as well. It's a lot of those kind of secret desires, secret relationships in general in the grand scheme of relationships. And a lot of what Scorpio also is suppression as well. So there is, Venus is pleasure and desire and enjoyment and relationships. So when you again put these two energies together, and let's say we even match them with the Mars part of this pie, then you can see a lot of that kind of suppressive or suppression type energy in play. Venus in Scorpio suppresses kind of like the desire, brings in a lot of those kind of relationship games. Whenever there's kind of like drama or some sort of psychological kind of push and pull, very much Venus in Scorpio, it likes that, it yearns for it, it desires for that. This is the let's say the more shallower side of what it yearns or desires. Actually, Venus in Scorpio, the deeper side of Venus in Scorpio, it requires depth. But a lot of times for us as humans, it's very easy to go towards those more negative side of things. So again, manipulation, secrets, suppression. I have a desire, but I don't know how to express it. I don't know how to express my desire, especially with this combo of Mars and Libra as well. And now I don't know exactly what to do with this, so I kind of start playing these weird psychological games. I might say a weird thing here and there. Maybe I try to play on the jealousy card. These are all kind of these games, these kind of, I want to fight, but I kind of want to start it gradually, This is kind of Venus in Scorpio as well. Like, I want to feel something deeply. This is the actual Venus in Scorpio, or anything almost in Scorpio. I want to feel anything so deeply, but I won't allow it. So in order for me to feel it, I need to create some drama, or I need to create some pain or a fight in some shape or form to kind of feel and experience this. This is very much Venus in Scorpio theme. And now when we put these two again together, it kind of makes this very interesting, yet we can say a bit suppressive, bit indirect, bit kind of, weird cocktail already. And now we will add the configuration of Pluto and Mercury in a square or opposition. Obviously you can use both. Square is a bit more aggressive in my experience. Opposition is a little bit more secretive, maybe a little bit more secretive twisting. Square is maybe a little bit more direct, in your face kind of thing. And now when we put Mercury, the planet of communication, the words we speak, together with Pluto, the planet again that represents Scorpio, the things we already mentioned, manipulation, these are the negative sides of things, negative side of Scorpio. Manipulation, control, power, shame, wanting to control somebody. When we put this together with the things we said, these are, in my opinion, a very, very big cocktail, energetic cocktail for basically having a lot of manipulation, unfortunately, kind of shame happening in relationships and partnerships in indirect ways. And this is, again, what brings me, and also, you know, saying kind of like these almost hidden, painful, hurtful things to one another, kind of trying to control, trying to manipulate, trying to kind of get a reaction. This is the Pluto Mercury opposition or square. In this example, you can see we have the square here. Now we kind of painted the picture of what this energetic cocktail is, and I want to bring a topic I think I've been wanting to bring for a long time, and this is a lot to do with relationships. It's not only romantic relationships, it's all types of relationships, you know, with your boss, with your employees, with your co-workers, with your students, teachers, with your partner, with your whoever it is that you have basically a relationship with, where there's an energetic exchange between the two of you. And now what starts happening, especially with this cocktail, but you know what very often happens in a bunch of relationships, and you know, a lot of people have these configurations in their lives, in their birth charts playing out, is this scenario that I'm going to bring you. So basically, a person lives their life, things happen, maybe things happen the way that they don't like them to happen, they wanted something else, and basically they don't get something out of the situation that they actually wanted. Being it, maybe a career is a really good example of this happening. You know, you do a job, you do a work, you do a career, whatever it is. In your case, you're maybe wanting a promotion, you don't get it, and then what happens? This is a very, very, very common scenario. Or in relationships, also I'll bring another example in it. Or in relationships, you are, you know, dating somebody, or you're together with somebody, and maybe your needs are not met. You're wanting, you know, maybe more fun, you're wanting maybe more romance, more sexual intercourse, whatever it is that you're desiring, but you're not getting. So this is the next thing I'm about to say, is the most common, a very common pattern with the with the astrological configurations I just said, but it's a very common thing in our society in general, and how people react to a lot of these things is they now, you know, something unpleasant happens, something uncomfortable happens, an emotion rises as well, a feeling, a reaction rises from their consciousness, from their being. And it's usually more negative, harder to deal with emotion, desire, with that feeling, you know, their desire is not met. This is also important to understand, because of that desire being unmet, this is one of the reasons why that sensation or feeling happens. Now, very often, again, what happens, remember guys what I said about the suppression and the thing, with the Scorpio, and actually Pluto Mercury is a very, very kind of suppressive configuration as well. And now what humans usually do is they start suppressing that feeling or emotion. Now the problem with suppressing feelings and emotions and desires actually is that it doesn't really go anywhere. We just kind of clamp it down into our consciousness, into our bodies, but it doesn't really do anything with it. It's kind of bubbling underneath our skin, underneath our being. Now, when it starts happening, you know, we can get into a lot of kind of distorted behavior. And this is what I mean by manipulation, wanting to control. And a lot of these times, it goes into those spaces. I don't get what I want. This is the kind of formula. I don't get what I want. I feel an uncomfortable sensation. I have a desire that is suppressed. I can't get my desire or need met. Now, this is all bubbling within myself, in my consciousness, without a release. But the problem is with energy and our consciousness and desires, they need a release. They need to go somewhere. They need to move. This is how energy works. You know, it's kind of particles moving really quickly and vibrating. So they need to move. They need to go somewhere. Need to be expressed. So a lot of people start doing is these energetic impulses go into distortion. Again, trying to control the situation, you know, trying to shame people into getting what I want, trying to, you know, talk to somebody else about it in some shape or form, trying to get that desire. This is at the core of everything. Trying or doing their best to get that desire met in indirect ways or indirect ways. This is the basics of this, let's say, configuration, astrological configuration, or, you know, in our daily lives, in our human being lives. And this, again, you know, I can say a bunch of things that it can go into, you know, manipulation, trying to control the people, other person, trying to kind of start shaming other people within that scene that are also attached to that goal or desire. Or maybe you perceive that they're, you know, kind of in front of you, or they are stopping you. So trying to manipulate and maneuver for them to, you know, either leave or go away, say mean things, like I said, with the Pluto, Mercury starting to kind of grind those shame gears, basically, with kind of snarky little bits and pieces of comments that make people kind of uncomfortable and weird. Now, this is one of the ways. Obviously, there's a lot of, you know, when we talk about romantic relationships, there's, you know, I'll try to make my spouse jealous, or I go start looking attention from the outside, which is also a very common one. So basically, trying to get your needs met or desires met in all these indirect ways, and within that action, you know, creating all sorts of drama, problems, annoying situations for yourself, for others, and kind of having it all blow up in your face in the end. I hope this makes sense to you, and I hope you kind of recognize this pattern, and I hope you've seen this pattern. I hope you maybe even, you know, lived through it. I hope you started to come out of it and do it differently. And this is one of the second part of the video. And right now I want to give you guys a way out of this, and this is one of the things I personally have been, I think it's one of the most hardest or most difficult things I've ever had to do, and still, you know, learning to do this myself. And I've finally come to a place where I've gotten a little better with it, you know, so I feel a little bit more comfortable speaking to it, bringing it to you, and hopefully it will serve you guys in the coming weeks, years, maybe hopefully the rest of your life as well. And it's a lot to do with this. Now we go back to the scenario at hand. So something happens that we don't like, that we don't think is maybe fair, that we don't think is, we want something else to happen. Basically, we aren't getting our needs met, but we would like to get our needs met. We talked about the kind of troublesome scenario. So now the more healthy, more mature, direct way of handling these situations, these matters, is as follows. Very simple, guys. Very simple, but very, very hard to do, because it requires courage. And when Mars is weakened, you know, the courage side of things is a bit It requires courage. It requires being direct. again, the same story, Mars being a little weakened. And it requires accepting the consequences of what you're about to do as well. The action in it of itself is very simple. You just go and ask and talk to the person, express the things that are happening. Maybe it's a relationship issue, or again, maybe, okay, let's take the relationship issue. You haven't been giving me a lot of attention. You've been so, doing your own thing somewhere else. This is making me feel I'm experiencing these kinds of more difficult emotions. I'm kind of doubting the relationship. I don't understand what's going on. Can we talk about this? I would really like to know what's going on. So this is, the first step. Very simple, but it requires courage and intimacy, which is at times very difficult to do. So our default way is going into that kind of, because what does a child usually do when they don't get what they want? They start kind of crying and kind of manipulating the parent to get what they want. This is where we're actually, as human beings, stuck at as well. We're kind of like almost babies. I don't get what I want, now I start manipulating you. Instead of going to mature, kind of vulnerable human being route of saying, hey, so this is what's going on for me. I would really like to, know your side of the story. Please, can we just talk about it and see where it takes us? So this is a very, very simple way of just opening up the conversation, discussing with, especially when it's somebody you care about and it's somebody close to you. Now maybe it's a work thing. Now I think work thing is also a very kind of triggering situation. Let's say somebody got promoted over you, or somebody got the project that you really wanted, whatever the case may be. So usually there's somebody there who's making the decision, or maybe it's somebody you're partnered with, similar scenario happens with them. The basics are still very, very similar. So you just go to them, ask, hey, I really need to talk to you. I need time. I need your time. I need something to get something clear. But now this is the place where you need to get, again, with both with the relationship as well. You need to be prepared of the consequences of them saying, yeah, I think they're better than you, and basically that's it. I wanted them on the project, so I picked them. I think you need work on this, blah, blah, blah. And you need to be prepared, to hear that kind of criticism, maybe some uncomfortable things, but at least you get your answer. And similar with the relationship, it might be that the person has lost interest in extreme cases, obviously, but very often it's something quite different. But the core point I'm making here, guys, is that you need to be prepared for the consequences being, whatever. You need to be prepared to accept whatever it is that they're going to say to you. And now you get into that situation with maybe the boss, maybe your business partner, and you go like, hey, guy, like, what's up? This is how I'm experiencing this. Can we make it? Can you share your side of the story? I really wanted that project. I really wanted that promotion. Why didn't I get it? I thought I was pretty good. And this is where a lot of, scenarios can happen. And it's important to be, vigilant, especially when there's Pluto, Mercury square as well. People can obviously, speak words that seem true, seem powerful. But also I recommend, when it's happening, many times, and they're still kind of, hey, no, I really like you, and I really like your work, and but it's not translated into action. Always look at if the words that the people are speaking, be it the spouse, be it the work, be it the partner, if the words that they're speaking are really translating into the actions that they're conveying with the words. This means that they have integrity, This means that you probably most likely can trust them, even if those actions, let's say the things that they're saying are, you know, more against you, but, you know, at least they're going into material form. It means this person has integrity. It means that they will do what they say. This is a very important thing to, you know, see in every kind of relationship and observe if they're doing. If there's constant too much separation behind their words and actions, meaning they're saying one thing but they're doing one totally something different, then there's a problem, and then you really need to, you know, consider removing yourself from that situation. And now, when you are in those situations of direct action and direct asking, like, hey, what's going on? Let's, you know, I would like to get this, I would like to do this, I think this is right, I think this is correct. This is actually where open dialogue can happen. And this is where those distortions of even manipulating, saying mean things, trying to control situations, trying to maybe even speak behind someone's back about someone or someone else. This is the place, this directness, this asking of these questions, this is the place, or even stating your desires and understanding if they are able to meet those desires, if the other side is able to meet those desires. This is the place where these distortions stop. And once you get those answers back, it's easier for you to start making new plans and kind of take new action regarding everything that was said. Because, you know, it's really annoying to be in a relationship where when there's no communication and the things that you're saying aren't really landing, and the person isn't really, they're somewhere else, you know, but you're still stuck there because you're not doing that direct action. You're literally trying to, you know, get attention somewhere else, or trying to do some other kind of tactic. And this is where it actually stops. Being direct, being courageous, asking those questions, being open. And same with career, same with work. It's better to go and say, hey, this is what's happening. I would like to know, am I not good enough for this role, or is there something else going on? Should I be concerned? And if the answer is kind of like negative, of course, you know, you as a grown-up person can process that and can accept those feelings, emotions that are now triggered, and you can now make decisions to either improve, you know, take a new job, create a business on your own, whatever the direct action after that is. But the more clarity you have, the better is one of the underlying points of this video as well. So guys, I hope everything makes sense to you that I spoke of here, and I hope and I wish you a lot of directness. I wish you clear communication with, you know, Mercury retrograde coming up as well, and I wish you a lot of clarity, and that you get your desires met, and that you, whenever you don't get your desires met, at least you take the direct action afterwards to get them met and create more clarity in your life. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. Please let me know in the comments below if you liked the video, if you enjoyed it. What did you enjoy? What did you not enjoy? Was it useful for you? You know, like, subscribe, share it if it was useful for you. And I will see you again soon in another video.